Hello, my name is Jason Rose and welcome to the very first of my Art of Life tutorial videos. I'm a professional artist and art tutor, and over the years it's really struck me just how many things that I've learnt as an artist, as a figurative painter, things that have really helped develop my work, are also things that I've applied to my life in general and have helped me develop as a human being. And so in order to share some of these things with you, I've decided to make this series of videos called The Art of Life. And you'll be able to find them all eventually, when they're all made, on my YouTube channel, Jason Rose the Artist, alongside my general art tutorial videos for children and adults. This is the very first one, and it's called Embracing Imperfection. I hope you enjoy it. One very important thing that I've learned over the years is to embrace imperfection. I used to think that in order to make my drawings and paintings the very best that they could possibly be, meant that I needed to either make no mistakes at all, or if I did, I had to eradicate them completely, so that the finished thing was perfect, clean and unblemished. And I think when you approach art and drawing and painting in this way, it can take a lot of the joy out of it, because you're very often throughout the process of creating your artwork very stressed with every mistake, every line that isn't perfect, and you're more you're thinking more about the finished product rather than enjoying the process and the journey of creating, which is really what it's all about. You can see the lines that I'm drawing here are very sketchy, they're not precise, they're not perfect. They will change and they will move and they will evolve, and they're messy, and I will find them up slowly throughout the picture, but I'm starting off very, very loose, very messy, and I would never have worked this way years ago. And I think my approach to life was actually very similar to my approach to drawing and painting. If life wasn't perfect, if I wasn't perfect, I couldn't deal with it or accept it. I couldn't deal with the messiness of life. I couldn't deal with my mistakes, which is very hard because I made a lot of mistakes. And I was in conflict, I think, in denial with those parts of me that weren't good and perfect and lovely. And just like with my paintings and my drawings, I felt that no one would accept me or like me if they could see all these things, if they could see my imperfections. So I kept it all very, very well hidden. But I began to realise that my desire for perfection just led to sterility. My work was technically good, but devoid of life, devoid of feeling, spontaneity. It wasn't authentic. I wasn't authentic. Who would like my paintings if they could see bumps and textures and splashes and bits of old lines coming through from previous parts of the painting, and bits of hair from the brushes? And who would like me if they could see my sadness, my darkness, my depression, my anger? And so slowly but surely my approach to life and art began to change. Don't get me wrong, you know, skill, keen observation, proportions, technique, being precise, all of these things are still very important to me. But I learned to combine them with accepting mess, with accepting mistakes, working with the mistakes and the mess, building on them, transforming old lines and shadows and colours into new ones, not worrying or stressing about the residue left from a rubber or from an old line, not worrying if old parts of my picture that weren't completely perfect kind of still peek through. Letting the residue become a part of of the evolving picture. Just as you can see what I'm doing here, I'm slowly working and adapting and refining my drawing, and the old lines, the mistakes, the imperfections, the lack of proportions are slowly changing, and the old lines are becoming part of the picture, part of the new shading, part of the dark contrast. So it's all still there, it's all still part of the history of the picture. It's a constant process of adaptation and change, and you realize that things won't always be right first time, not even second or third time, and to not stress over it. Just to build on these things rather than denying them and trying to block them out. And basically, both order and chaos should be two principles that work together rather than being in conflict with each other. That's a really key thing that I've learned. And I think what you realize is that some mistakes aren't mistakes at all. They're what you would call happy accidents, and they can lead you in a completely new, wonderful direction that you wouldn't have gone down if you hadn't made that mistake. And some mistakes are mistakes that you learn from and build on, so that you can make things better. And so my artwork slowly began to become more alive and vibrant, and strangely enough, even more visually realistic. I used to spend hours trying to mix the perfect skin tone, and now I just allow bits of dust, even cold coffee or old bits of colour to come into my colour mix, and somehow it just becomes more realistic. That reality that I always strive so hard to control, to a large part comes through chaos. It took me longer to begin to apply this to my life, but it's made a massive positive difference. I can now accept my past mistakes without constantly berating myself, and instead learn from them, build on them, create something better. I allow things to take me in new directions. I don't try and control my life so much. I can now deal in a much healthier, more effective and less stressful way with the unpredictability of life, with the things life just throws at me that I'm not in control of. I work with these things rather than pushing them away or denying them. Just as I now work with unplanned splashes on my canvas, I build on them, work with them, and sometimes they take my work into great new places and make it even better than it was before. And also, as with my paintings and drawings, I'm not trying to present a perfect image of myself to other people, thinking it's what they want. Hopefully now I'm more authentic, I'm more real with the outside world. So now, as you can see, I'm putting the finishing touches to my drawing. I'm adding detail. I'm more controlled than maybe I have been before. I'm slowing down a bit. I'm looking at the nuances and subtleties of the shading, of the proportions. But I'm building upon everything that's gone before. The history of this picture is captured within it, and I've built upon that. All of the mistakes, all of the old shadows, all of the imperfections, even the first lines that I've put in are in here somewhere. I haven't rubbed things out and tried to eradicate that history. It's all a part of the picture, and I'm building upon it, and it hopefully gives it more life and more vitality and more reality as well. I feel that I even want to build in the bits of masking tape at the corner of the picture, which is holding it up, to build them into the picture and make them part of the picture, because they are part of the picture. And I think things like that just give artwork even more life. So I have scars, just like my picture has scars, just like we all have scars. And these scars become a part of who we are and make us more beautiful, more authentic and multi-layered and whole. There's an amazing Japanese art form called kintsugi, where they put together broken vases and they use lacquer mixed with gold, silver, platinum powder to put the pieces back together again, and they become even more beautiful, even more priceless than they were before. So instead of striving for perfection, strive to be the very best that you can be, and the very best that you can be embraces all of your imperfections. And just like one of the most beautiful things on the planet, a lotus, which grows from the sludge, muck, mud and slime from the deepest, darkest depths of a river or a stream, so your beauty will shine, not in spite of your blemishes, mistakes and imperfections, but in many ways because of them.